The galactic trade route was quiet that day. Dozens of alien cargo ships drifted along the safe lanes, exchanging goods between worlds. Navigation beacons blinked softly in the darkness, guiding travelers across the black sea of space. Then, the quiet ended. Without warning, space itself seemed to ripple. At first, the alien captains thought it was just a sensor glitch. But then, a shape appeared, a massive ship, long and sleek, slowly sliding into view. It had not come from hyperspace. No flash, no jump signature, no wormhole. It was simply there. The alien crews froze. The ship's design was like nothing they had ever seen before. It had smooth metal plating with sharp angular edges, glowing blue lines running along its hull like veins. There were no identification codes, no visible weapons, and no life signs that their scanners could detect. Within seconds, panic spread. Cargo ships began to pull away. Smaller freighters vanished into hyperspace, abandoning their routes. The Galactic Patrol, stationed nearby, received the emergency distress calls. In less than 5 minutes, 6 heavily armed patrol ships had surrounded the newcomer. Inside the Council's main communication hub, alarms blared. The trade route was one of the most protected areas in the galaxy. No unknown vessel had appeared here in over 2 centuries. Counselor Devore, a tall, insectoid alien with dark chitin plates, clicked his mandibles in alarm. "No records match this signature," he said sharply. "Not from any known empire. This thing came out of nowhere." Captain Arshel of the patrol fleet studied the readouts. No transmissions, no weapons active, but the energy signature. He paused, his eyes narrowing. "It's unlike anything I've seen, almost alive." The patrol hailed the unknown ship. "Number." "Answer." They hailed again. Silence. Finally, a voice came through. It was deep, calm, and strangely familiar. "This is the exploratory vessel Dauntless," the voice said. "We come in peace, from Earth." The patrol officers exchanged confused glances. "Earth," one of them repeated. "What system is that?" But when they checked the star charts, the name did not exist. No planet, no records. It was as if this Earth had never been part of the galaxy at all. Rumors began spreading through the council chambers. Some said it was a secret warship from the Kern Empire, disguised in strange plating. Others whispered it could be a weapon created by the ancient extinct races, something that had been lost for millions of years and had now returned. A few paranoid voices claimed it was a trap, a first strike from an enemy no one had yet faced. The Dauntless requested permission to approach the Council's homeworld. That caused even more chaos. Counselor Devore slammed a clawed hand on the table. "Absolutely not. Cannot allow an unidentified vessel into the heart of the galaxy." But Counselor Vesra, a tall, silver-skinned being with eyes like molten gold, disagreed. "If they wanted to attack, they would have done so already. They've done nothing hostile. Perhaps we should hear them out." The debate grew heated. Messages flew back and forth between factions. Some wanted to destroy the ship immediately, before it could reveal its true purpose. Others wanted to detain it, board it, and strip it of technology. And a small minority believed it might be an opportunity, a first contact with a civilization hidden until now. Meanwhile, on the Dauntless, Captain Elias Ward watched the alien patrol ships keeping their distance. He could see their weapon, arrays glowing faintly, ready to fire. His crew stayed calm, their movements precise. These humans had trained for this moment for years, the day they would finally reveal themselves to the rest of the galaxy. Still, Ward knew the danger. One wrong move, one misunderstood signal, and his ship could be vaporized before it even reached orbit. He gave the order to send another transmission. This time, they included a visual feed. The alien patrol officers were startled when their screens filled with the image of humans, tall, two-legged creatures with expressive eyes and calm expressions. They wore dark uniforms with a silver emblem of a rising sun. "This is Captain Elias Ward of Earth." The human said clearly, "We request audience with the Galactic Council. We come not to conquer, but to speak." The voice was confident, but there was a weight to it, as if the human carried secrets far too heavy for anyone else to bear. On the council floor, the arguments grew even louder. "What do they want?" one alien demanded. "What is Earth?" "Why have we never heard of it?" another asked. "It could be here to spy on us," shouted a third. The humans sent no further explanations, only repeating their request. In a private corner of the council chambers, an old alien archivist leaned close to a fellow council member and whispered something. The words were almost lost in the noise of debate, but a nearby aide caught them. "I know what that ship really is," the archivist said softly, his voice trembling. "And if I am right, we are all in grave danger." The aide froze. "What do you mean?" But the old alien did not answer. He only kept his eyes locked on the image of the Dauntless drifting in space. Surrounded by nervous warships, its smooth silver hull reflecting the cold light of distant stars. And somewhere inside that silent human ship, a secret waited to be revealed. The Galactic Council had argued for hours. Some wanted the Dauntless destroyed before it could get close to their worlds. Others said it might hold knowledge or technology that could change the balance of power. Finally, the Council voted. The humans would be allowed to land on the neutral station Varen Prime, far from any major planet, under heavy guard. If they truly came in peace, they would have nothing to hide. The news spread quickly across the galaxy. On Varen Prime, reporters from dozens of worlds gathered, their cameras ready. Soldiers from 6 different species stood at the landing platform, blasters primed. Even the air seemed tense. Then a ripple of light appeared above the station. The Dauntless emerged from its stealth field, gliding down toward the landing bay. The ship's engines gave off a low hum, almost like a heartbeat. The ramp extended. Every alien present leaned forward, expecting strange, monstrous beings. But what they saw instead was a group of humans walking calmly down the ramp. They were tall, straight-backed, and dressed in dark uniforms with a silver sun emblem over their hearts. But what truly caught everyone's attention was not their faces. It was the small metal box they carried. It was about the size of a helmet, covered in smooth silver plating, with no seams or openings. Its surface shimmered faintly, as if reflecting light that wasn't really there. The humans held it like it was precious or dangerous. The alien commander in charge, a broad-shouldered reptilian named General Care, stepped forward. His voice rumbled through the air. "Identify yourselves and surrender the object you carry," he ordered. The lead human, Captain Elias Ward, met his gaze without fear. "This stays with us, always." Carr's eyes narrowed. "On neutral ground? It means all foreign technology must be inspected." "Then inspect us," Ward replied. "But the box stays closed." A murmur rippled through the alien crowd. No species had ever refused a direct order from Care and stayed standing. The alien guards moved in, scanning the humans from head to toe. The readings confused them. Human physiology was unlike anything in their databases. Their muscles were denser, their bone structure more compact, and their brain activity was unusually active, but the box remained a mystery. Every scanner bounced back an error. No matter the wavelength, thermal, magnetic, subspace, the box showed nothing but a blank void, as if it didn't exist at all. Frustrated, Care stepped closer. "Why bring something so secret to our council?" Ward's expression didn't change, because what's inside will change the galaxy. And not everyone will survive that change. The crowd went silent. Counselor Vestra, the silver-skinned diplomat who had voted to let the humans land, stepped forward. "If this is true, then we must open it now, so all may see." Ward shook his head. "If we open it now, you will all regret it." Words hung in the air like a shadow. One of the reporters shouted from the edge of the crowd, "What is Earth? Why have we never heard of it?" Ward glanced toward the voice. "Because we never wanted to be found. Until now." The crowd erupted. In questions, where was Earth? How had these humans reached the trade route without being detected? How had they learned the Council's language so perfectly? That last question was the most troubling. No one had taught them. The humans seemed to speak every tongue fluently, even the rare ancient dialects spoken only by scholars. Noticed this detail and frowned. "How do you know our languages?" she asked slowly. Ward gave no answer. Then something strange happened. The box began to hum. It was faint at first, like a distant vibration, but soon the sound grew louder, resonating through the metal floor. The surface of the box shimmered, and strange patterns of light danced across it. Care barked an order. Step away from it. The humans didn't move. They stood around the box in a tight circle, their faces calm, but their eyes watchful. A small alien child in the crowd pointed at the patterns. "Yes, I've seen those before," she said. The council chamber on Varan Prime was packed. Soldiers stood at every entrance. Reporters whispered, their cameras ready to catch any sudden move from the human delegation. The small silver box sat in the middle of the table. It no longer hummed, but its strange patterns of light still shifted slowly, like the surface of water disturbed by an unseen wind. Captain Elias Ward stood behind it, his hands folded neatly behind his back. His crew remained silent, their expressions unreadable. Counselor Vesra's golden eyes locked on him. "You claim to be from Earth. You claim to have been to the Black Moon. Explain yourselves." Ward didn't speak right away. When he finally did, his voice was calm but carried a weight that made even the guards stop shifting in place. "Earth is not lost," he began. "It is hidden. For centuries, my people have watched this galaxy without revealing ourselves. We've studied your wars, your trade routes, your history, and your enemies." Gasps rippled through the chamber. The galaxy in secret was no small claim. Only the most advanced civilizations could achieve it without being detected. Vesra leaned forward. "Why hide? Why reveal yourselves now?" Ward's gaze moved slowly across the room. "'Cause something is coming. Something your council does not believe in, or perhaps has chosen to forget?" The murmurs grew louder. A few older council members exchanged uneasy looks. Ward placed a hand gently on the silver box. "Inside, this is the only chance you have to survive it." General Carr's tail twitched impatiently. "Name this enemy." Ward's expression darkened. "We call them the Devourers."
"You mean—"
"Know them by other names. The Night Swarm, the Endless Hunger, the Silent Death. They are machines, older than any living race. They move from system to system, stripping planets bare. No negotiation, no surrender, only annihilation." One of the younger council members laughed bitterly. "Legends. Scare stories for children." Ward's voice sharpened. "They are not legends. My people fought them once. We paid for our victory in blood, and we learned how to make them stop." Carr's eyes narrowed. "And this method is inside your box." "Yes," Ward said simply. The council erupted in argument. Some shouted that it was a trick to gain power. Others insisted they should open the box immediately and use whatever was inside. Vesra raised her voice to cut through the noise. "If you truly have such a weapon, why not use it yourselves?" Ward shook his head. "Because it is not a weapon, not in the way you understand. It is knowledge, and knowledge has a cost. Once you open it, you cannot unlearn what it contains." The chamber fell silent again. An alien historian, old and frail, stood slowly from his seat. His voice trembled as he spoke. "The patterns on that box. I have seen them. In the archives of my people, there are records of a time before the council was formed. A war against an enemy that came from the dark between galaxies. My ancestors called them the Hollow Ones. The stories say they could not be destroyed, only delayed." He pointed a shaking claw at Ward. "If what you say is true, then the galaxy is in greater danger than anyone here understands." Vesra studied Ward carefully. "What happens if we do nothing?" Ward's answer was immediate. "Then you will meet the Devourers before the end of this cycle, and you will not survive." The chamber was quiet for a long time after that. Finally, Care growled. "Your words are fear and shadow. We deal in proof. Until we see these creatures for ourselves, your claims are meaningless." As if the galaxy had been listening, the chamber doors burst open. Communications officer stumbled inside, breathing heavily. "Counselors, we've received a distress signal from the Rim colonies," the officer shouted. "Attack." The council members straightened in alarm. "By who?" someone demanded. The officer's eyes were wide. "We don't know. Transmission is fragmented, but the images match the old legends." He tapped a device on his wrist. A holographic projection flickered to life in the center of the chamber. It showed a dark sky filled with hundreds of black, insect-like machines. Their wings shimmered with metallic light as they swarmed over a burning planet. Cities crumbled under their assault. Beams of energy cut through towers. Alien civilians ran for their lives. Then came the sound, a deep, mechanical roar that seemed to vibrate through the bones of everyone in the chamber. One alien soldier, in the footage, screamed into the cums before being swallowed by the swarm. "They are here." The projection cut out. The chamber was utterly silent. Ward's voice broke the stillness. "That is what we came to warn you about." Vesra's eyes flashed. "If this is true, then your box is the only thing that can stop them," Ward finished. Kerr stepped closer, his claws clicking on the floor. "Then prove it. Show us what's inside." Ward looked at his crew. They exchanged silent nods. But when he turned back to the council, his expression was grim. "Once this is opened, there is no going back. The galaxy will change forever. And some of you will wish you had never seen it." The counselors looked at one another, torn between fear and curiosity. Outside, in the vastness of space, the enemy drew closer. The council chamber felt colder after the Rim Colony transmission ended. No one spoke for a long moment. Every counselor, soldier, and reporter in the room seemed to be processing the same thought: the Devourers were real. Captain Elias Ward stood still, hands behind his back, his eyes scanning the room. "Now you understand why we came," he said quietly. "This is not a war you can win with your fleets. The Devourers will tear through them like paper." "General," Carr's tail flicked sharply, "I do not accept that. The Council has faced enemies before. We will assemble our war fleets and crush these things." Ward shook his head. "You can't crush what you can't kill. Every shot you fire, every bomb you drop, they will adapt. We learned that the hard way." A murmur of unease ran through the chamber. Some still didn't want to believe him. Others, especially the older council members, looked grim. They had heard stories of such a war long ago, stories they'd hoped were only myths. Then, a second communications officer rushed into the room, her breathing ragged. "Counselors, we have another signal. This one is live." Flickered to life above the center table. It showed the Rim Colony again, but now the picture was clear. The skies were black with the swarm. Each devourer resembled a massive, armored insect, its wings lined with jagged metallic plates that shimmered like blades. They moved with terrifying coordination, sweeping over the city in waves. Energy beams from planetary defenses hit them and fizzled out. The Devourers simply shifted shape, absorbing the blasts before diving down to tear the weapons apart. A council fleet had already arrived in orbit, firing everything they had. The swarm split into smaller groups, some attacking the fleet directly, others bypassing them entirely to land on the planet's surface. One alien officer in the hologram screamed, "They're ignoring the ships. They're going straight for the cities." Ward's voice cut through the horror. "They're after life. You don't care about your ships, only about harvesting. What's alive? Once they finish here, they'll move to the next world, and the next, until there's nothing left." The feed suddenly shook violently. A devourer the size of a building slammed into the planetary shield generator. There was a blinding flash, and the shield collapsed. The hologram flickered once, twice, and then went dark. The council chamber erupted into chaos. Some demanded immediate evacuation of nearby systems. Others shouted for the humans to hand over the box. Vesra raised her voice above the shouting. "Captain Ward, you say that box can stop them?" "How?" Ward didn't answer immediately. He placed one hand on the box and looked at his crew. They all gave small, silent nods. "It's not a weapon," Ward said finally. "It's a memory core, a piece of ancient technology older than the Devourers themselves. It holds the knowledge of the civilization that created them, and the instructions for how to destroy them. Then open it," Kerr growled. Ward's face hardened. Core doesn't just share knowledge. It changes the one who receives it. The mind that takes it in will never be the same. The change is permanent. That is the cost. Vesra's voice softened. "And you're willing to pay that cost?" "Yes," Ward said without hesitation. But it has to be used at the right time and in the right place. If we use it too soon, the Devourers will adapt before we can destroy them. We have one chance. Before the council could respond, the room's emergency sirens began to wail. Voice boomed over the station speakers. Priority alert. Unidentified swarm detected incoming from the outer sectors. An estimated arrival, 6 hours. Everyone froze. The Rim colony hadn't been their only target. "They're coming here," Ward said grimly. Kerr slammed a clawed fist onto the table. "Then we fight here." Ward looked him straight in the eye. "If you fight them here without the core, you'll be dead in minutes."
The chamber
Descended into chaos again. Some counselors demanded immediate evacuation. Others argued for arming every ship. Vesra stared at the incoming trajectory on the display, her jaw tight. The council chamber had never been so quiet. The air felt heavy, almost too heavy to breathe. Every alien representative watched the humans closely. Their eyes, or whatever served as eyes, were filled with doubt. Ambassador Laura stood at the center of the great hall. Her voice was steady, but her heart was racing. The council had given her crew one last chance. Prove that humans could be trusted, or be sent away forever. The test was simple in words, but dangerous in reality. A deep space colony belonging to the Torvins had gone silent. No distress signal, no communication. Many feared it had been taken over by pirates or something far worse. The council wanted the humans to investigate alone. If the humans were brave, they would win respect. If they were selfish or deceitful, they would never be allowed back. The crew prepared the Odyssey for the mission. Captain Reyes addressed them in the command room. "This is not just a rescue," he said. "This is our future. We act now will decide how the galaxy sees us." The crew nodded, each one feeling the weight of those words. They set course for the silent colony. When the Odyssey arrived, they found the station floating in darkness. No lights, no movement. It looked abandoned. But the sensors showed life signs inside. "Something's wrong," muttered Lieutenant Harris. "Life signs are weak, scattered." Like they're hiding, the humans entered cautiously. The corridors were cold and eerily quiet. Then they found them, the Torvin colonists huddled together in a storage bay. Their leader, a tall figure with glassy skin, stepped forward. "You are not our people," the leader said weakly. "Why have you come?" Reyes answered, without hesitation. "Because you needed help." The humans discovered the truth quickly. Pirates had attacked days ago, stealing supplies and damaging the power systems. The colonists had no way to call for help. Without waiting for payment or reward, the Odyssey crew worked for hours, repairing the generators, giving the colonists food and water from their own stores. When the power came back and the station lit up again, the Torvins stared at the humans as if they couldn't believe what they were seeing. "You helped us," their leader said slowly. "And you expect nothing in return?" Reyes smiled. "We expect one thing, that you tell the truth about us." Back at the council, the Torvin leader himself gave the report, described how the humans had risked themselves, given away their supplies, and asked for nothing. The chamber was silent for a long moment. Then, for the first time, a representative of the Galactic Council stood and said, "Perhaps we judged them too quickly." But not everyone agreed. In the shadows of the chamber, an alien envoy whispered to another, "If they are so selfless, what is it they truly want?" The question hung in the air like a cold wind. The humans had won a step toward trust, but in the galaxy, trust was never free. The humans had done the impossible. They had passed the test. The Torvins had spoken for them, and many in the council now looked at humanity with new eyes. But not all. Some still whispered that humans were dangerous in ways no one could see. And in the far reaches of the galaxy, someone was watching, waiting. A week after the rescue mission, the Odyssey was called back to the Galactic Council for a private meeting. The council chamber was empty, except for the highest-ranking members. Ambassador Laura felt uneasy. Captain Reyes stood beside her, his jaw tight. Something about the air felt wrong. The council speaker began. "Humanity, we have reviewed your actions. You have shown courage, and you have shown compassion. But there is something you must explain. You pressed a control. A hologram filled the room, footage taken from deep space satellites. It showed the Odyssey weeks earlier, firing a strange weapon in the darkness. The blast was unlike any technology the galaxy knew. Reyes froze. That weapon wasn't supposed to be public knowledge. The speaker's voice was cold. This is not standard human technology. Where did it come from? Reyes hesitated. If he told the truth, the entire galaxy would fear them. If he lied, they might never trust humans again. Finally, he said, "It's old. Older than Earth itself. We found it buried on the moon decades ago. We never used it until pirates threatened our colony." The chamber erupted in whispers. Ancient alien technology in human hands? Some called it proof humans were dangerous. Others saw it as a reason to protect them. Then, without warning, the chamber doors slammed open. An alien envoy burst in. Tall, armored, eyes burning with fury. "That weapon," the envoy growled, "was ours. And it was never meant for you." Gasps filled the hall. The envoy continued. "You think you've earned our trust? No, you've only made yourselves a target. Now the true game begins." Outside the council, ships were already moving. Fleets changed course. Spies traded messages. Alliances began to shift. Humanity had entered the galaxy not as weak newcomers, but as a new and unpredictable power. Some would want them as allies. Some would want them destroyed. And somewhere in the stars, the one who had built that ancient weapon was coming back for it. The Odyssey crew didn't know it yet, but their first trial was over. The real war had just begun.